News Up Now is provided by Bibo Salon and Spa, working with sophisticated products for your hair, skin, and nails. Bibo Salon and Spa, 415-421-2426. Hello and welcome to News Up Now. I am Gleidson Martins. I am at Child Advocates of Silicon Valley with Fred Ferrer. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks for having us. And I would like you, if you can explain a little bit. I know you're 7 weeks of your term as a CEO here, how it has been.
Well, I'd like to say thanks for being here. It's really important to have this conversation and the community really understand the important works of Child Advocates of Silicon Valley. We're the CASA program. Sometimes people refer to us as that. That means that Child Advocates, I'm learning it, the court-appointed special advocates. So that means that if a child has been abused or neglected and they've been removed from their parents' care, the court will intervene in being able to be in caring for that child. Mm-hmm. And so there's lawyers for the child, there's lawyers for the parents, there's lawyers for everybody in the court, but who really speaks for the child? So the court appoints a special advocate who's one of our trained volunteers to do basically two things. One, to be a mentor and friend to the child, to build a trusting relationship. So even though this is probably the darkest time of the child's life, there's somebody from the outside who can really listen to the child, hear them out, and help them to either escape kind of while they're going through this, or be able to help them as they move through this very challenging time in their life.
It's funny, making parentheses here. CASA, with an S in Portuguese, we say casa, which means home.
Right. And in Spanish it would be casa, right?
Exactly.
Which would be home also.
Yeah.
And so it's funny that it is that word, because it really is saying, what happens when the child loses their home, right? This can be, in a sense, the support to the child while they go through this transition.
Absolutely.
The goal is always to reunify the family where possible. So we're trying to bring that child back home again, if you will. But in the meantime, during this court proceedings, it's super important that the child have someone to speak on their behalf.
Wow, that's fantastic. But CASA basically is a mentor appointed by the court to help a specifically kid.
Right.
Right. And we were talking before we start doing the interview about the need of a Spanish speakers to become a mentor for those kids.
So we want our CASAs, we want our court-appointed special advocates to come from the same communities, to be culturally responsive, to be able to match, if you will, the child and the mentor. And so 60% of our kids are Latino. In this community, that's not a surprise. There are 1,300 kids in the dependency court. So those are kids who have been abused or neglected, and so through no fault of their own are in the court system. And so how do we support those children the best we can? So being able to match the child with a Latino who looks like them, comes from their culture, maybe be able to speak the language, really is going to be an advantage to that child so that the child can build that trusting relationship even faster.
And we also,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We also have a large LGBTQ community of kids in our system who may have been disconnected from their families because they came out. And so mentors that are actually coming from that community is another kind of target area which can be really helpful to that child or young person going through that system at a very difficult time. Having somebody that can understand them and where they're coming from.
Especially when you're thinking of coming out as a gay man or a woman, it might be really tough for some kids, especially depends on the background of the family. Right. So if you have someone to mentoring, it would be a different situation. Speaking of kids, what is the age average that CASA can help?
So children can be in the court from birth or from infancy all the way through 21. So 24% of our kids are between 0 and 5.
Okay.
Another 23% of our kids are between 6 and 10. So almost half of that 1,300 kids are 10 and under. So we're talking about babies and little kids who really do need that kind of support of an adult because they can't support themselves at all.
Of course, and they need a model to see at which path they're going to be taking later
Right.
on life.
And then the rest of our kids are older, so they're between 11 years old all the way up to 21.
Okay.
So we have non-minor dependents, kids that are 18 to 21, who may still be in the system and are receiving the support of the court.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to a decision how do you train a mentor to be helping those kids?
So by the law, each person who wants to become a CASA goes through 30 hours of training pre-service. There's an interview process to really make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into and why you want to do this. And then you go through this training. And the training is really everything about how the court works, what talks about children, the situations and the challenges they're facing, gives you some skills and tools of how would you work with a child like that. It really has a large component of trying to make sure that we're preparing you as best we can so that you can then get matched. Then once the child and the CASA are matched, then the child and the CASA start working together. And remember that children within the court system, it's all confidential. So you can't go home and talk to your neighbor or your friend or anybody else.
Yeah.
You have to be able to maintain the confidentiality of the child.
Absolutely.
So you need our staff to be able to be the ear on the other side of the phone to really problem solve with you.
And let's be honest, I mean, we all need somebody to listen to us.
That's right.
Imagine a child,
Right.
right? So especially if they're going through darkness or
Yeah.
whatever you want to say. So is there any way to measure how many kids child advocates of Silicon Valley has helped so far?
Yeah, there's been, well, if you think about there's probably 1,500 kids that go through the system each year. And we've been around for 30 plus years. So we've helped thousands of children.
But let's say there's someone watching us right now and they think, oh, I need some help. But it doesn't work like that, right?
Right.
It has to be appointed by a court.
Correct. And so if a child was in danger or uncomfortable, or if something's going on that they know is not right, they should talk to somebody that they trust. Their teacher, their pastor, their auntie, like somebody who they trust. So it might be their mom and dad that's part of the problem for them. So they talk to somebody else, but they should talk to someone. It's so important that children be able to talk to a trusted adult. If you were the adult who heard this message, you need to believe the child, right? Children don't make this up. This is not something that children think up, right? The children really, if they're coming to an adult in that trusting way, I always say, you believe the child. Something's wrong, something's going on if a child is going to come to you and tell you.
So I was at the gala when you took your position, and you gave a really beautiful, inspiring speech.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate on that.
Thank you.
It was beautiful. Well done.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for the work you're doing here in this county specifically, right? Thank you for your time again. Anything else would you like to add?
No, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation.
Well, thank you
Our
so
kids are
much,
super important,
Yes,
and
they
the more
are.
people that can be supportive of them, the more I think that we can help these kids in this particular time in their life to merely have a trajectory of success. And so thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions, suggestions about what's going on at your community, please let us know. Send us an email to nun@newsupnow.com. It's right here, nun@newsupnow.com. I hope to see you next time. Thanks. Bye.